AMLO didn't want to give up eating children and give up his power to Trump. Kind of liked his little gig, but they did. He went to from Mexico City. He went to all of the Central American countries, and they all signed over. And then in all of these meetings, all of these various leaders, AMLO included, all were doing these clapping their hands together and their wrists together like they were being bound and forced into doing this. And I won't even get into it, but there's kind of a reason with these Spanish types. But anyways, we move forward. We get to Brazil, and the new Brazilian president, or yeah, I guess he's a president in Brazil. He thinks he's got the best job in the world because he's far away from all the bright lights of the mainstream news, and he can just rape and go to the bank in Brazil. No, Trump pays him a visit and tells him he's working for Trump or else. And so they have this very public meeting where, once again, Bolsonaro, he clamped his hands together and his wrists together, showing that he was forced into doing this, and he submitted over to Trump as well. And then after Trump leaves, guess what? One of the first acts that Bolsonaro did as the president, this is very key everywhere, by the way, folks, is all of these then key arrests after Trump left these countries of key pedophilia cover companies and individuals. And so Oprah's best friend in the world, that beautiful spiritual man, John of God, who is running one of the largest child trafficking and adrenochrome production facilities in the world, just an absolute monster, Oprah's best pal. He was arrested shortly after Trump left by Bolsonaro, the president of Brazil, and they took dear, sweet man of God, literal Christian, Jesus, who maybe looked more Latin than Swiss, but anyways, and he was arrested, and the rest is history there. So then he went to Argentina, and Argentina has long been kind of a safe haven because it's as far as people can get away. Obama, the Obamas, Mike and his little bitch Barack, they used to go there quite a bit because they were planning their safe escape, their retreat. If certain things should come out. They spent a lot of time in Argentina as well, as did a lot of people. It was kind of like their hideaway place. Trump went there, and this Argentinian president, who is such a corrupt person, is just brutal. Trump was so disrespectful to this guy.
Well, they had the G7 in Argentina, right?
Yeah, that's right. They had I think, yeah, that's right. So therefore that meant they had to have the global banksters there as well and stuff. So there's actually quite a lot of people that were there as well. And but Trump's behavior to this Argentine president was just brutal. Just treating him like the scum of the earth that he is, and of course he capitulated. And
the mainstream press always presents this as Trump just not observing protocol, and he's just this oaf, and he's uncouth and all this.
Yeah.
Just a buffoon.
That's right. Well, the big thing with this Argentinian president is that Trump just up and walked off the stage after, I guess Trump had spent, I guess he felt long enough, 5 or 10 minutes for a couple of questions and some photo op, and he just up and left and didn't say a word to anyone, including that Argentine president. And again, it's a power move, and basically just saying, you're scum of the earth. We know who you are. You're scum of the earth. Just obey what we tell you or else. And that's what he did. And then at the G7 summit in Canada, he very fortunately, of course, had horrific pedophile and adrenochromer Justin Trudeau, of course, was hosting the meeting. He was there. But Angela Merkel, was there as well, and she was one of the big ones that he wanted to be there as well, because she didn't play a major role back in Brussels. So at this meeting, he got everyone there, but in particular, it was the capitulation of Justin Trudeau of Canada and Angela Merkel of Germany. And both of them did the same thing. In fact, Justin Trudeau spent most of the G7 with his hands clasped together like he was in handcuffs. So, and Trump did a lot of very, very suggestive gestures towards Justin Trudeau as well, kind of pointing out some stuff. One of the ones that Trump is kind of cute, that treated the absolute worst with the most disrespect, he just treated him like a little child, was Macron, the French president, and of course he is just so known for being just an absolute Rothschild stooge and a horrible adrenochrome. And the stuff that Trump did with this clown in public, in front of the press and the media, to make him look bad was actually incredible. So he got Macron to capitulate as well. Now, Theresa May in your country resigned to allow Bojo to take over as a Trump supporter. And she exited. And do you remember Theresa May? Remember, Mark? She was crying and crying and crying, and she couldn't control herself. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Okay, well, the real reason that that she was actually crying is not just all the stuff that they had on her and that he showed, but that Trump actually showed the intel from the NSA that the Phoenicians were planning on taking her out. She was actually set for an assassination, and Trump apparently showed her all the intel, all the detailing on where and when she was going to be hit and how. And I guess it just...
So he basically saved her life.
He did save her life.
What would have been the objective of taking her out then?
To get Boris Johnson in, somebody who was going to be strong, and you think about that, Boris Johnson.
Or did they have a plan to put somebody else in?
Yeah, for many, that's right. They must have had somebody else that they wanted in, and so Boris Johnson is a strong character. Now he does appear to be strongly evil. But again, if he's playing this role, then he is a very strong character.
He must be a damn good actor, because he's got me fooled.
I think we should have some awards after all this.
It took me a while to come around to the idea of Trump, but yeah, I can see that, but I don't see it with Boris.
Yeah, and I would agree. I would agree too. It was he sure had me fooled as well. Yeah, I really thought that he was just another one of these. But I guess the real trigger was that speech at the UN. You know, half the speech was sort of good old Boris and, you know, vaccinations. But the first half of that speech at the UN that he did, now that was beginning of April, end of March. That speech that he did at the UN in New York, when at the UN there was almost no one in attendance because they had all fled, because they're all...
Looked like he was by himself.
They're all child traffickers. They had all fled into hiding. But that first half of that speech is Boris Johnson kind of telling you that there's a control mechanism in place, and that an evil cabal is ruling things. But you know what? Get your shots. He finished his speech with, you know, that the COVID is real and that these vaccinations are very good for you and important. So
yeah, well, that's why people have a hard time accepting that he's on the side of the people with all the stuff that he's put out there.
Yes, and I don't think anyone should after hearing this, I don't think anyone should turn and make Boris Johnson a good friend of theirs or anything like that. No, remove this fake, illegal, evil government from power. Don't wait for the November 2020 election to do it. You make your own change. This is your country. And I think Boris Johnson should be taken down. He's just has been a horrific prime minister, surrounded by horrific people. But so yeah, I just wanted to give you that stuff on Theresa May and her just crying like a baby as she stepped down and stepped away from it all. They didn't even like her in the end. They didn't like her. Nobody likes me, says Theresa.
We didn't like her either.
Yep, that's right. And then, of course, very famously, his little trip to Buckingham Palace and the royals. And there's a lot of conjecture if that was even the real queen who was there that day, because she most famously has, I think, the most body doubles in place. But his behavior, Trump's behavior that day was just incredible. He just walked all over the place wherever he went. And that Camilla Parker, she really hated it. There are lots of photos of her just incensed by Trump's apparent lack of protocol, right? And Trump was just walking all over the place. And one of the great shots that exist is that Trump walked right up to Prince Charles, which I think is a good indicator that wasn't Charles who was there, because that's, I think, what Trump is pointing out. Trump stepped ahead of Prince Charles and started to walk away at a pace that Charles couldn't keep up. And he walked right over to Charles' private guard and just began shooting the breeze with them and having a good conversation. You can imagine the kind of questions or the kind of statements he was making to these guys that had to observe what the royals were up to, hey? So yeah, and then the coup de grace shot was that Trump managed to get himself and have a photo op in Winston Churchill's very famous leather-bound chair. And Trump has the shot where he kind of famously replicates a famous image of Winston Churchill, just sort of exerting.
He's looking like a boss.
Yep, looking like the boss. Exactly, looking like he did on The Apprentice as the boss, and firing people left, right, and center. You're fired. And I think that's the significance of that shot. And again, when we do the video package for this, which eventually, of course, if you want to put that version on your site too, you'll be able to do that as well. That'll be awesome. So, and then from there, he went to Russia, and boy, was